Hi everyone, my name's Laura and I'm one of the account managers here at thisislanguage.com. I wanted to put together this really quick video to give you an overview of thisislanguage.com and what we can offer you. This is a super quick video to help get you set up and using thisislanguage.com with your students as quickly as possible, and we'll cover the content and look at what's on offer, and we'll also look at the admin side of the site. I'll briefly show you how to set up classes, how to get your students logged in, how to start setting work for your classes, and how to monitor your students' progress when they get going on thisislanguage.com. One quick thing I wanted to point out before we get started is that you'll notice that I'm in the French section of the site by looking at this flag by my name in the top right hand corner. If you do want to change language platform, you just click on this flag and select the language that you're after from the drop down menu. This works for both the students and yourselves on your teacher accounts. I'm going to stick with the French section of the site. The second thing I want to make you aware of is that all of the content on thisislanguage.com is distributed equally across all of our language platforms. We offer the same amount of content on French, Spanish, German and Italian platforms, so don't worry about that. Everything works in the same way. And the final thing I wanted to point out to you before we get going is that when your students log into thisislanguage.com for the first time, they'll see exactly what you do, minus these teacher tools at the bottom. But they are able to navigate through all of the content on thisislanguage.com and complete work independently if they wish. Everything that they do on the site is recorded, and you'll be able to keep an eye on how they're getting on. I'll show you how to do that a bit later on. So let's get stuck into the content. We'll start with our authentic language videos, which are found behind this orange button on your homepage. All of the videos on thisislanguage.com are 100% unscripted, and you can navigate through the content that we have on offer by exam board. This applies to our video section and indeed all of the content on thisislanguage.com. For the moment, let's look at things thematically by clicking on the All Videos option in the top left-hand corner. The All Videos option just breaks the videos down into those broader themes that you're all very familiar with, I'm sure. Let's look at friends and family for now. On this final page, you'll see a list of cards with questions on them. These are the questions that we ask our interviewees, and each of the answers behind these cards are native speakers responding to that exact question. The videos that you see in front of you really are authentic in that the first time that native speaker has heard the question is when it was posed and we press record on the camera. You'll see the question that we asked them at the top and each of the answers below. Let's take a look at this video quickly for now. On the video page itself, you'll see the video on the left-hand side, and you'll also see a list of related videos below. These are just other people answering the exact same question, and it's a great place to look if you're looking for a slightly harder video or a slightly more straightforward video, or if you just want to expose students to a range of answers to that particular question. A couple of things I'd like to point out to you link directly to the video. First up, our slowdown function, or our snail function. This function lets you as a teacher slow the video down by a third when you're playing it at the front of the classroom. It doesn't distort the audio at all, but it just makes the video slightly easier to follow along to. As a teacher, you can decide whether or not your students have access to this button when they log in and access thisislanguage.com for themselves. Just below the snail function then are our star ratings, or our difficulty ratings. All of the videos on thisislanguage.com are rated between 1 and 5 stars for difficulty. We do all of these ratings internally, and we watch through every single video and give it a rating depending on certain criteria. Those criteria include vocabulary the speaker uses, the speed at which they speak, whether or not they've got an accent, the hesitation in the video, and how linear or non-linear their answer might be. You can find a full breakdown of why we give each video the difficulty rating we do in our help section. And finally, one last thing before I move on to our exercises is this, our video ID. All of the videos on thisislanguage.com have a unique ID number to make it as easy as possible for you to find videos that you like and keep a track of them. All you need to do is copy and paste or note down this ID number and type it into your thisislanguage.com search bar. You'll be taken straight to this video page from wherever you are on the site with that ID number. One last thing that I should point out is of course the nationality of the speaker, represented by this little flag and country name here. We do film all around the world, and particularly in our Spanish platform, we have a lot of speakers from South American countries as well. So if you do want to expose your students to a different type of accent, have a look out for this flag. Right, let's look at the 4 exercise types then associated with each video. Our exercises are carefully scaffolded and designed to confidently build up to a student being able to confidently answer a comprehension exercise on this particular video. We start off with our introductory exercise, Jigsaw. As you can see on this page, Jigsaw is a super simple drag and drop exercise, and students are asked to drag and drop the correct words from here into the missing gaps in the transcript. Our Jigsaw exercises, as you can see, are automatically marked, and students are always asked to correct their answers before they move on to really reinforce that learning. After the students completed the exercise, they'll get a score, and at the very end, they'll also get some points too. I've got 0 points here because I'm logged in as a teacher, just so you know. So that you know what they mean, the score is for you as their teacher to keep an eye on how they're getting on with particular exercises. The points are for the student, and they're what encourage hundreds of thousands of students to do independent work on thisislanguage.com every week. Following on from the Jigsaw then, we've got our video vocab exercise. Video vocab is a vocab exercise in which key vocabulary from the transcript of this authentic language video is pulled out and put into its simplest form. Students flick their way through a number of flashcards with both visual and audio prompts to learn the vocabulary in question. Once they're confident, they click Start Learning, and they'll be asked to produce this language for themselves. Just like the Jigsaw, video vocab is automatically marked, and students are always asked to correct their answers before they move on. They'll also be retested on any vocabulary they got wrong in the video vocab exercise at the end of the exercise, just to make sure they've really understood where they've gone wrong. This is super useful because the next exercise on our list, our gap fill exercise, really does act as a follow-on exercise from the video vocab. In that, the students will be tested on the same vocabulary they learnt in the video vocab exercise, but this time they'll be asked to type it in to the transcript and use it in context. Like with all of the other exercises on thisislanguage.com, our gap fill is automatically marked, giving students that instant feedback and encouragement to carry on and try again if they need to. Last but not least, we've got our comprehension exercises. As I said earlier, the 4 carefully scaffolded exercises in thisislanguage.com really are designed to work together. The idea of the first 3 is to break down the authentic language from within the video, break it down into more digestible chunks for the students to follow along with. After which, they'll hopefully feel confident enough to crack on and answer some multiple choice comprehension exercises. This is just to really test their understanding of the target language in context. They'll be able to watch the video as many times as they like while they respond to the questions. You'll notice on my screen that the questions are in the target language in this case. As a teacher, you can decide whether or not the students see the questions in the target language, or whether you'd rather display the questions in English. It's totally up to you. And those are our 4 carefully scaffolded exercises attached to every video. I hope you and your students enjoy them. You can download a printable version of these 4 exercise types to use at the front of the classroom, for example, if you want to display on the video on the interactive whiteboard and give students a handout instead. Just click on this yellow print worksheet button and you'll get a downloadable worksheet. The transcript is always available to you as a teacher, but you can decide whether or not it's turned off or on the student's end. And the final thing to show you on this page then is this Assign a Video Exercise button. Once you've set your classes up on thisislanguage.com, you're going to want to be able to set work for them. When you want to set a video comprehension, all you do is click on that Assign a Video Exercise button, select the exercise or exercises that you'd like to assign for your students, the class that they're in, the due date of that particular assignment, and whether or not you'd like to send your students an email notification. You click Set Assignment and you're good to go. Your assignment will now appear in your assignments log and it'll appear on your students' assignments log too. For the moment, you'll also be able to find all of the exercises that you've set in your feed, as will your students. But soon, your assignments will have a new home, as you can see here. And those are our video comprehensions. I'm going to skip over our vocab section for now, just because it works in a similar way to the video vocab, and I'm aware of time, I don't want to keep you too long. But have a go, have a look through it, and let us know what you think. Quickly, let's look at our comprehensive grammar tool. Just like with our videos, the grammar exercises are broken down into exam board specific groups. You can navigate through by exam board or by theme. Let's look at nouns for the moment and have a quick look at our definite articles exercise as an example. These grammar sections are designed to make sure that your students make tangible progress, whether they're learning with you in the classroom beside them or whether they're learning independently at home. All of our sections have a 120-second wacky explainer video to make grammar fun and engaging. This is followed by a written explanation covering the formation and usage of the structure in question. And the exercises associated with each grammar section are split into two. We've got our training section and our test out section. And I'm going to start by looking at our training section. Our grammar tool is pretty clever and it adapts to students' answers as they progress through the exercise. First, they'll work on identification questions, picking out the structure from within a target language sentence, like so. As soon as they get 5 identification questions right in a row, they'll move on to our multiple choice questions, like this. As soon as they get 5 multiple choice questions right in a row, they'll move on to producing the structure in question within a target language sentence. You may have noticed as we went through that the grammar section is also automatically marked. If students get 3 questions wrong in a row, they'll be taken back and shown that written explanation once more before they carry on. You'll also have noticed that the progress bar moved back a little bit. This is because we want the students to complete the training section as much as possible and get a really good understanding of the topic in question before they progress. Once they feel they've mastered it, they can move on to our test out section. And this is a test. It's a set number of questions and they'll get a score at the end of it for you to see. It works in the same way as our test out section, but this time it'll focus on their productive language. If they get a question wrong, it'll ask them to correct their answer, but it will move on to the next question. And it is a set number of questions, so they will get a score at the end. And that's our grammar tool. Back on the thisislanguage.com homepage, I want to quickly show you our Nutty Tiles feature. Nutty Tiles really is the student's favourite part of the site. It's a real-time, multiplayer, fast-paced vocab game that tests students' vocabulary knowledge over 50 levels. Each level introduces at least 20 new exam board words. The words are pulled directly from the exam board specifications, and they're grouped based on length, so they are a bit random. The aim of the game is to type the words in the target language as quickly and as accurately as possible to beat your opponents. Opponents are other students from around the world playing Nutty Tiles at the same time as you, so it's a live multiplayer game that our students really do love. I'd recommend just letting them list on it and seeing how they get on. Back on our homepage once more, I want to show you the newest addition to thisislanguage.com, our speaking feature. You'll then be asked to select a question prompt. You can type in your own question, which will be added to your question library. But for the purposes of this demonstration, I'm going to pick one of our questions, so the questions stored in our library. These questions are the exact same questions that we asked our interviewees, and they're arranged thematically, like so. Let's look at your family, for example, and select a question from the drop-down list. If you do select a question from our question library, you'll be able to select up to 3 example or model answer videos to showcase to your students so that they can take inspiration and guidance from our native speakers answering that same question. You don't have to, but you can select up to 3 if you wish. Then you click Assign. Much like the rest of thisislanguage.com, you select the class you'd like to set the task for, the maximum length that you'd like their response to be, a due date, and you can add some additional notes for your students too, maybe guidance on what vocab to include or tenses to use, anything like that, and you click Next. This is where the speaking feature is slightly different to the rest of the exercises on thisislanguage.com. The speaking feature isn't automatically marked, but we've tried to make it as user-friendly as possible. You'll see here we've got a general grading rubric outlined here with a certain weighting per category. You have two options. You can use and adapt this grading rubric to suit your needs, removing certain categories and changing the weighting of certain categories if you want, or you can select your exam board's speaking grading criteria from this drop-down list. We're always adding to this list, so please do contact us if your exam board isn't on there and we'll be happy to add it for you. Then you click Set. And that's it. The exercise has been set for your students and it'll appear in their assignments log. When it comes to creating speaking assignments, or indeed seeing the results for any other set assignment on thisislanguage.com, the best thing to do is to head to this Assignments button on your thisislanguage.com homepage. Head to the class that you've set the assignment for. Take a look at your upcoming, your overdue, and your completed assignments, and find the task that you're after. I'm going to look at a speaking task quickly to show you how the grading works. Click View Results beside the task in question. Scroll down and click View beside the student's name. You can listen to their response as many times as you like, and all you need to do then is use these sliding scales to give them a mark for each category. The system will automatically generate a total score for you. You'll be able to leave them some written feedback, and you'll be able to leave them some recorded feedback as well, an audio comment. Super useful when it comes to helping them with their pronunciation. And that's how the speaking feature works. If we head back to our general assignments log, a couple of things I'd like to point out for you. You can always view all of the students' results on this page in your assignments log, but you can, if it's easier, use this button to download an Excel spreadsheet of a full breakdown of all of the work that you've assigned to your students and the scores that they've received for each assignment. If you want to take a closer look at how an individual student is performing, click on the Students tab here, select their name, and you'll be taken through to their activity log. You can use these filters at the top to view their scores in the last month, overall, or just this week, to view their work by class, or to view everything they've ever done on thisislanguage.com. The full comprehensive list of work that your students have completed shows you whether the task was assigned work, whether they've completed it independently, which language they've completed it in, the skill they've been working on, the difficulty rating, if applicable, of that particular task, and the score they received for that task. You'll also see a breakdown of all of the points they've received, but as I said before, these points are for students to keep them motivated and don't apply too much to you. Much like with the class report, you can download this as an Excel spreadsheet, and we hear from a lot of teachers that they use this on Parents' Evening, for example, to give the parents an insight into how well the students are doing. Right, now that we know how to set work, find relevant content, and keep an eye on your students' progress on thisislanguage.com, you're going to want to know how to set up your classes. To set up classes on thisislanguage.com, all you need to do is click on your name in the top right hand corner and select My Classes from the drop down menu. Then click on this green Add a Class button. Fill in the class details, selecting the language they're studying, their year group, and the teacher or the owner of the class, and whether or not you'd like them to have access to our slow down snail function. Click Save, and we have a variety of ways to add students into classes on thisislanguage.com. In my opinion, the quickest and easiest way to do this is to click on this Copy Paste a List of Names button, and just copy and paste or type your students' names into the box that appears. Then click Next. You can swap their first and last names around if needs be, if you've copy and pasted them in the incorrect way, and click Confirm. Double check everything lines up and click Next. This is a very important part. If your students have never used thisislanguage.com before, you'll see this message beside their name, and a new account will be created for them automatically. If they have used thisislanguage.com before, you'll see this message, and all you need to do is click on it and select their already existing account from the drop-down list that appears. Now, none of these are Sarah Smith, so we can create a new account. Then you click Save. For the students who have used thisislanguage.com before, they won't need a registration code because they've already got an account. For those who've never used thisislanguage.com before, they'll be issued with a registration code. This is just a one-time activation code that they'll use to create their username and password for themselves to keep everything nice and secure. Click Finish once you're happy, and that's you good to go. Our Year 12 French class is there and ready to go. If I just view this class quickly and click on the Students tab, you'll see the registration codes for those who have them and the username of those students who've already registered. And that's you good to go. If we head back to the homepage, there's one other thing that I'd like to show you. I mentioned earlier that students earn points for every correct answer that they give on thisislanguage.com. These points contribute towards their weekly total, which puts them in the running to get a place on our global leaderboards, either at the class level or the student level. These leaderboards reset every Friday at 7 p.m. and every student always has a chance to make it into the top 10. It's really competitive, and I'd recommend setting a little challenge for your students. Everyone can get up there. It's just a matter of how much work they complete within a week. As I said, we have a classes leaderboard and a students leaderboard, both globally, as well as an in-school leaderboard and in-class leaderboard to really keep their motivation high. And that's it. That's thisislanguage.com. If you have any questions whatsoever, please do take a look at our help section. To find this, click on your name in the top right-hand corner and go to Help Me down here. If not, you can always email us in schools@thisislanguage.com or email your account manager for some specific help if you need it. I hope I didn't keep you too long. I really hope you enjoy exploring thisislanguage.com and you know where we are if you need us. Have a lovely day.